What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Status Podcast. We have a jam-packed intro today, a jam-packed show today. But I am here today with my co-host, Colby Turner. How are things going on out there in Texas?
Honestly, I want to say ugly as of yesterday, but today is really beautiful, not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rain, but now it's close to dark, but not really raining out here. But it's Washington, something you should expect. Um, Now, like I said, we have a jam packed show, and there have been breaking news. Um, and I will get to that actually. There have been breaking news. Lots of news information to come out earlier today. The
Hello, John
the
Suggs.
the Chicago Bears traded the number one overall pick in exchange for two firsts, 2 seconds, and wide receiver DJ Moore. Now, you said before we got on air, you said that you're surprised that the Chicago Bears traded that number one overall pick.
Yes,
Why?
because he could have used it to get a good quarterback. Honestly,
They still can. If that's what they really wanted to do, they still can. Now, to be
Steve Roth, if you're actually interested in becoming a podcaster, talk with Jay Ness.
fair, um, it's very possible that the four best quarterbacks in this draft could be drafted before the number ninth overall spot, but it's still very possible that a quarterback that they're looking for could fall in their lap. Don't think that's going to happen. I'll explain why. But let's talk about the Panthers. They lost a lot of capital in their best wide receiver just to get that number one overall pick.
That pick has a lot of value, though, to be honest.
Yes, but I explained this last week. The Colts, um, I explained this last week when I was talking about the Chicago Bears. When I was talking about doing a mock trade, I had the Chicago. I think that the Chicago Bears. I knew that they were going to trade him all along. Bryce Young is another guy that's, and you even made a joke. Actually, no, we weren't talking about this on air. We were talking about this over the phone. Bryce Young is basically built. Bryce Young and I are basically built alike. 1 inch shorter than me. He weighs a couple pounds less than I do, and he has smaller hands than I do. Okay, the hands take that part away, but he is skinny, and he is one of the shortest people in the draft class. So, do you really think that the Carolina Panthers are going to trade up just to get somebody? What are your expectations if that were to happen?
I honestly have no idea, to be honest. I think they could look into getting CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. CJ Stroud is one of the more projected quarterbacks in the league, honestly, especially Dallas wanting
I
him.
think that's exactly where I'm going to get. That's where exactly what I think. I don't see them trading up. I don't see Bryce Young being number one because the Panthers lost a lot of capital to get him and no weapons.
Hey,
Especially now
Nate,
DJ got the bear.
John Suggs has a very good take. He is saying Colts are getting Duggan or Levis.
Now they could go after Levis, and that's actually where I have them going. Max Duggan, I don't think is going to go up that high. I don't even think they're going to. He might be a second round pick, is where I expect him to
Max
be.
Duggan could land in Dallas and always be a Texas quarterback.
That's true, but I think he's going to be more like a second round guy.
All right.
Panthers are going to get CJ Stroud. Houston's going to get my Bryce Young. I see that happening too. Now, I am not high on when we were over discussing this on the phone. I think I told you, or I might have put it in my notes yesterday before this trade happened. Screw that part of the notes. I think that I said that I thought there were going to be two trades in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Colts were going to trade up to get one, and that the Raiders were going to trade up to get the number 4 seed, and then the Bears were going to drop all the way down to the 7th. Now, that's going to change. It's a team I want you to keep an eye on in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Arizona.
John Suggs
Arizona.
actually brought up something just now. So Dallas reworked Dak and Martin's contract. They're looking to make a push for DeAndre Hopkins. What do
Yeah.
you think about that?
I don't. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to go out and get a wide receiver. I think
I
the
mean,
Panthers. I
hmm?
think. I think the Cowboys are going to go out and get a wide receiver. I don't know who. And I think the Panthers are. If let's say Dallas doesn't get DeAndre Hopkins, which I don't see it happening, but let's just say he doesn't. He's probably going to end up being a Panther.
And I have another question for you, Nate. What do you think about Dalton Schultz saying no to a multi-year contract on the Dallas Cowboys?
Um, that I even talked a little bit about too. Kellen Moore, he left and now he got fired, and now he's a Los Angeles Charger. I think Dalton Schultz is going to be a Charger as well.
I could see that happening, to be honest.
Um, and now I'm going back to lost my train of thought. Okay, let's talk quarterbacks for a second. I think that the
Mm-hmm.
Raiders are going to trade up and end up getting that number 3 spot.
All right.
They draft Anthony Richardson. Don't like that move. I really don't like that move. But I think that's what they're going to go for. And then the Colts end up getting Will Levis.
I'm also, I forgot to bring the. I don't know if we talked about this yet, but Daniel Jones signed a $160 million contract for
Mm-hmm.
4 years to be on the New York Giants.
Yes. But you notice the trend that I said earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Colts get a quarterback in all 4 picks in the first round. Not the Colts. I'm sorry. There's a quarterback that goes in the first 4 picks of the first round. Has it ever been done before?
I don't think so. This
And
season's
now
just a really weird season.
leaves that just leaves with Max Duggan. Um, Now you're right. We didn't talk about Daniel Jones, and in fact, I don't even know why I didn't put that in the topics.
And we didn't even talk about the Baltimore Ravens franchising Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson.
Daniel Jones signs a multi-million-dollar contract with the New York Giants, a huge multi-million-dollar contract.
Geno
And
Smith.
right now, Geno Smith, same thing. But Daniel Jones, you notice how he is getting paid way more than Lamar Jackson is?
Mm-hmm. The Giants
I
are.
think the Lamar. Now, where do you think Ravens did a good move with this contract?
I honestly don't know, to be honest, because the Ravens have franchised him right now. I don't know if he's going to get a full contract. It is good that the Ravens franchised him. We'll see in the upcoming year or so if he is going to get a full paid contract by the Ravens. I honestly think that what needs to happen since our quarterback situation is about to get bad, I think we should trade up for Lamar.
Mm, I don't think it's going to happen.
It could though. I mean, we did just restructure Zach Martin's and Dak's contract,
Yeah, but if
and
you
that leaves us with
restructure,
two. Hmm?
if you restructure a guy that is very capable of being a starting quarterback for your team, and who has gotten taken you to playoffs before, why trade to get a multi-million dollar contract for Lamar?
But we also have a multi-million-dollar contract as we speak.
That's true, but that really wouldn't make sense to me.
Also, we didn't talk about this either, but Aaron Rodgers actually got permission to speak to the Jets.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is something I've been saying for a while. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is something I've been saying for a while, but in a lot of stuff that's been going on lately, there was a reporter that he basically interviewed Aaron Rodgers,
Mm-hmm.
and he when not Aaron Rodgers, but the present owner of the Green Bay Packers, and he um is asking some questions. He ended up turning it around and said, uh, his words of the conversation basically made it seem like Aaron Rodgers wasn't on the team. He was speaking. He said so many things in past tense, and now I think we've been talking about this a lot, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be a Jet here in the next couple of days,
Or
maybe
he could
even
go to Miami.
today. In fact, I just pulled my hands in front of the whole screen. Sorry about that for those that are watching. In fact, I'm going to pull up the reporters right now and see if the news hasn't broken yet.
What do you guys
Um,
think about Aaron Rodgers becoming a Jet?
I think he will. I think he will be a Jet.
It's looking more likely every single day now, especially with him getting permission to speak to the Jets.
Um, yeah, I think that. Yeah, that would be 4 for 4 predictions that I have. Um, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, I get a little distracted here. Uh, Close this up. So I think the Jets will end up trading for Aaron Rodgers, and if they trade Aaron Rodgers, they'll go ahead and give up 2 second-round draft picks, one for this year and one for next year. Um, so if the Jets do, if that ends up happening, that's what you're probably looking at seeing. I have been seeing some reports that saying that you're probably going to give up their tyrant Garrett Wilson, and then I think that they're gonna give up like a wide receiver. If there was another Corey Davis, that's who it was. Corey Davis was also in consideration for the trade. That's literally looking at the trade consideration right now. Now, going back to what we were saying about Lamar, what the Ravens did
Yeah.
is what the Ravens did is they said, I want you to go out and test the public market, test free agency. And because you're offering for more than what we think you're worth, I want you to go out to any team out there and see what they are willing to offer, see how much they are willing to offer you. Then come back and we'll try to see. Come back, go to any of those teams and see if any team out there in the NFL is willing to pay you that. Then come back here and we'll see if we'll match it. We'll see if we will see if we can match it. If not, we'll trade first round picks, 2 first round picks to whoever team that you're playing.
Yeah, and John Suggs actually said, I actually did not know this. So thank you, John Suggs. Ravens offered him basically a 6-year contract with 133 million guaranteed at signing, 250 million total, which is 41.6 mil, and he turned it down.
Yes, I think he's looking more towards 50 million, and I really think that what the Ravens offered, the only team that might offer anything close to that is Atlanta. And I know that they said that they're not interested in Lamar. But
The only other team that I can think of with that big of a cap would probably be the Rams.
I don't know. Falcons have the most amount of cap space. So they're probably going to go ahead and get. I seriously think that the Falcons are going to be the favorites to get Lamar, and
Oh.
and Atlanta's not doing it because they're still paying for Matt Ryan's contract. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hey, that's a free quarterback for the Colts, essentially. Seeing as he screwed up the Colts.
Yeah, that's more of a complicated topic. Oh, and last but not least, the things I wanted to talk about in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to be on a new team next year. And we talked about this earlier. He will probably either be a Carolina Panther. And I say that because you notice how they kept their second round pick when Carolina made their trade. You notice how they kept their second round draft pick? Mm-hmm. They didn't trade that to Chicago. I think they're going to trade that to Arizona, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a Carolina Panther next year.
All right.
Or maybe trade that for any type of wide receiver.
I think Dallas is also looking for a wide receiver because of Odell Beckham. There's still a chance he may be signed with Dallas, but I honestly think we're going to get DeAndre Hopkins.
Say for a second DeAndre Hopkins doesn't become a Carolina Panther and he ends up going with Dallas. You might be seeing Adam Thielen because of the timing of all things. You might be seeing Adam Thielen becoming a Carolina Panther next year.
All right.
Um, anything else you have on free agency or any type? Oh, actually, there is. There is one more thing. Broncos have cut um, Graham Glasnow and three other players to restructure uh, to save up cap space because they were being cap casualties. Um, and now um, that is saving up because of the releases that they've made today. They have now an extra $27 million in free cap space. But um, so now that's just some other breaking news. And now Robert Woods has also a Houston Texan.
All right.
Okay.
I think we should. I honestly really like the way this is going in terms of free agency. I just want to talk about NFL, to be honest.
Okay. We can just briefly cover over the playoff picture towards the end.
All right, and then what do you think about Calvin Ridley? Remember when he used to gamble on himself?
Yes. Yes,
He
he
is a
did.
Jaguar now, and he actually apologized for gambling on himself. What do you think about that?
Um. Well, one, it was a dumb move. To gamble. Period. In a league that you play for, not just any team, but league you play for. And when they made the trade, Jaguars ended up getting Calvin Ridley. You kind of learn why. Um, and yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Yeah. So they released Ronald Darby, Broncos. They released Darby. They released Graham Glasnow, which what that does is that saves. It would free up. You're looking at 20.647 million dollars, leaving it behind 6 million in dead money. They cut Chase Edmonds and they released Purcell, who are both role players. That would add. You look at 9.42 million to the war chest.
All right.
Uh, so now, now that looks at now they're trying to figure out who to put in as, especially towards that right tackle position.
Oh, Nate, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but Derek Carr signed a 4-year contract to the Saints.
Yes, I heard about that.
What do you think?
Again, that's a little bit pricey.
All the quarterbacks this season are being overpaid.
Um, that's a little pricey, and now I under. That's another reason why I don't think the Jets went after Derek, because they saw that asking price.
Jets can't afford it. All right. What other topics do we have going on today, Nate?
Wow, you're cutting out real bad. Can you
Me?
repeat that? Yeah.
What other topics do we have for us today?
So that's all on the NFL free agency side. Um, as you may have heard, uh, All Sports All Plays Network is partnered with the North Louisiana Football Alliance, football league out in Louisiana. I saw their championship last. last year's championship yesterday. Out on YouTube. Go ahead, check that out.
All
Before
right.
we cut on a couple of rules on how what you would look at and see this this is what this is how they basically play their league. There's some rule changes, rules that are different. One, on offense and defense, there's only instead of 11-man offense, 11-man defense, they play 9. It's 2 less players,
9 versus 9.
and it's a 9v9. When they score a touchdown, they have to go for a 2-point conversion.
I have the rules pulled up actually.
Ooh, okay, I wasn't able to find that actually.
Yeah, it's on NLFA football.com/NLFA rules. Want me to go over it?
Um,
Actually, let me
yeah,
share my screen.
yeah, that'll be better. Sharing the
Yeah,
screen.
sharing screen. All right. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. Where should we start off? Right here on
Well,
game?
the first one, eligibility.
All players must agree to the adult waiver form and an NLFA players agreement before participating. Players must be 18 years of age but no older than
Oh, that's
35.
okay. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Oh wait, no older than 35. That's interesting because then there's Tom Brady. Uh,
At the start of each game, captains from both teams will meet at midfield for the coin toss to determine who will start with the ball. Visiting team will call the toss.
okay,
The winner of the coin toss has the choice of offense or defense. The loser of the coin toss has the choice of direction.
that's interesting. I like that.
The offensive team takes possession of the ball at its own 20-yard team and has 4 plays to get the first down.
That's basically the same as others.
Yeah. If the offensive team fails to get a first down after 3 plays, they have an option to either punt or attempt a first down on their 4th down.
Same as NFL there.
Yep. If the offensive team crosses midfield and gets the first down and fails to either get another first down or score a touchdown after 3 plays, they have an option to attempt 3-point conversion, the field goal, or attempt to get a first down or touchdown on their 4th down. Same rules as before.
Yeah, same.
If the offensive team fails to get a first down or score after going for it on their 4th down attempt, the ball changes
Yeah, that's the
possession.
same too.
Yeah. After a team has scored, the new offensive team will start its drive on its own 20-yard line.
Yeah, the only change is you have to punt in the NFL. And this one is actually, I think this one is the same too because the championship game they punted as well.
After a team has scored, the offensive team teams change sides at the end of each quarter. After half possession changes to the team that started the game on offense. So they'll be switching sides. As always, that's the same rules NFL.
Yeah, actually go to the clock stoppage because that's another thing I pointed out that I thought was interesting. Scroll
All
down.
right. Here we are. Timing. Games played on a 60-minute continuous clock with 2 30-minute halves consisting of 2 15-minute quarters each and a 12-minute halftime break. A play clock. Each time the ball is spotted, the team has 30 seconds to snap the ball. Teams will have receive one warning before delay a game penalty is enforced. So they do it a bit differently than the NFL in terms of that.
Yeah, I like that rule.
Clock stoppage. All right, you ready for this one?
Yeah, there will be a 2-minute media timeout at the end of the first half and first and third quarter. Excuse me. I like
Each
that.
team. All right. Anything else?
Um, well, anyway, where I was going with this is, you know what the one thing they don't talk about when it comes to clock stoppage?
What is it?
Whenever there's a penalty. And they don't stop the clock then.
Not for a penalty?
Nope.
I'm gonna
If
have
the
to
ref
pay
needs to
attention.
make a play, the clock still goes down.
So it's just a continuous clock then.
It's a continuous clock if there's a penalty.
Now
Which,
that is awesome.
yeah, that is cool. That's an interesting thing that I noticed.
Overtime. Now this is what I'm curious about. Each team is allowed a minimum of one possession. The first possession goes to the winner at the regulation coin toss. So there will not be a coin toss for overtime like there is in the NFL.
Okay.
Ball will be placed at the opponent's 20-yard line. The offensive team will have 4 plays to score a touchdown or kick a field goal. After a touchdown has been made, the scoring team has 1 extra point or 2 extra points. So it says option to go for 1 extra point pass play or 2 extra points run play. Can we talk about that?
Oh. Yeah. So that's kind of similar to the XFL, where you have the choice to go down, but the difference is
For
the
the 1, 2,
XFL
or
is,
3?
yeah, 1, 2, or 3, depending on what more yard line you want to do your point conversion from.
That's actually a pretty interesting rule.
Um, and then
All right. After the first offensive team has scored or turned the ball over, the opposing team will have the same scoring opportunity from the same 20-yard line in the same direction. If the score is still tied, each team has had an offensive possession. The game will be declared a tie.
oh, so there's no overtime clock.
Correct. All regulation rules and penalties are still in effect.
Okay.
This one I am interested in.
There are no timeouts in overtime.
What do you think about that?
Um, that is gonna keep things different. I will have to, let's just say, that's something to evaluate as this season goes on.
I really hope we get permission to commentate.
So, teams and rosters, each player is required to wear their own team jersey in all games. Their team jersey in all games. Okay. The home team
There,
will wear their dark jersey uniforms. While the away team wears the white jersey uniforms.
teams must be consistent of at least 16 players with a maximum roster of 25.
But 9 in the field at all time. But 9 in the field when they're gone.
Yeah. So that's an interesting rule as well because the maximum roster in the NFL is 53 players.
53. While there's 11 on the field.
Yes.
Um,
Let's look at scoring.
Okay. Touchdown, 6 points. No point after touchdown. They have to go with 2 from the 3-yard line.
A field goal, 3
Yeah,
points.
they can't go to the field goal, yeah.
Yeah. Return of an extra point attempt by defense, 2 point on 2 point conversions only.
So that's really the only difference there is the scoring, they can't go for a point after. They have to go
Okay.
to
Can we take a look at this?
the field.
Yes. So it looks like the field is only going to be 90 yards.
Yeah. I think in Canadian Football League, their field is like what, 60 yards?
And,
I think.
yeah, because it's 125 in total.
Okay.
All right. So that's actually pretty cool. Here are the field dimensions. Field dimensions Field dimensions are 40 yards by 80 yards with two 10-yard end zones. First downs are awarded every 10 yards starting from the front of each end zone. So that'll be right here.
Okay.
Stepping on the boundary lines is considered out of bounds, so that's the same rule as NFL. Now here we go into the fun stuff. Would you like to go over running, not go over passing?
Yeah. All right. So the ball is spotted at the ball carrier. Where the ball carrier has the ball. Forward progress will be measured by where the ball is when the carrier stops. To score, a football needs to cross the plane into the goal line. Hands-offs must be front, behind, or side of the offensive player. The offense may use multiple handoffs, pitches, or laterals. Uh, a maximum of 4 backs are allowed in the backfield at one time. So they can do a play where they have all their running backs out in the backfield with no wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
A player who takes a handoff can throw the ball from behind the line of scrimmage. Stiff arms. When running the ball, stiff arms are to the upper chest are legal. When using stiff arms, the arm must remain straight the entire time. Pushing, shoving, grabbing, pulling stiff arms to the face or to the neck is issued as a penalty. Only one offensive player is allowed to be put in motion at a time. No motion is permitted towards the line of scrimmage.
All right, now we move on to passing. All passes must be thrown down from behind the line of scrimmage. Intentional grounding. A quarterback is allowed to intentionally ground the ball to avoid sack, provided he gets throwback to the line of scrimmage. He does not have to run outside the pocket to do so. The no tuck rule. There will be no tuck rule in the NLFA. My bad. The play will result in fumble. All right.
I think that's really there because of 2003, but okay. Blocking.
You go over that, and I'll go over receiving.
Offensive blocking moves. The legal moves are stiff arm, upper body block, body positioning. Illegal moves that you cannot hold, you cannot grab, pull, you can't climb, or block below the knees. You cannot crack block, cut block, block in the back, hands to the face. An offensive player who uses any of these will result in a penalty.
Receiving. All players except the dirt down linemen are eligible to receive passes, including the quarterback if the ball has been handed off behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, time to see some water boy tricks. Only one player is allowed to in motion at a time. No motion is permitted towards the line of scrimmage. A player must have at least 1 foot inbounds when making a reception. In the case of simultaneous possession by both an offensive and a defensive player, possession is awarded to the offense. Interceptions that take place during 2-point conversion attempt can't be returned for 2 points. All right, rushing the passer. Legal moves: bull rush, spin, swim, under, rip, inside counter, club. Illegal moves: grab, pull, punches, hands to the face, holding, horse collar. A defensive player uses any of the listed illegal moves will be issued a penalty. Up to 5 defensive players are eligible to rush at any time. The illegal push penalty for violating these rules is a 5-yard penalty. All right, that is it for today in terms of the rules.
Okay. So how that would look like on the field. So when I saw the game, last year's championship game, what they did was they had the offense had 3 offensive linemen up on the front, the center, and then somebody on the left, somebody on the right. Left guard, right guard, I think is what it was. And then they had 2 running backs out on each side of them, and then the receivers. And this is true for both teams. The receivers were out on the closer towards the sideline. They were not at the center. Now, defensively, you had you had 4 people going up and trying to tackle the quarterback. And then now you have 3 people out there playing down to go after and do an intercept or do the thing from for the receivers to cover receivers. All right. That's the last on the NLFA. Talked more about that next week, excuse me. Now let's step away from football for now. And
we've talked way too much football, to be honest.
There's a lot of football today.
Yeah.
Which is good because there's a lot of football information to cover.
We love football.
But now getting into the National Basketball Association, NBA.
No.
Now, I'm not talking about the games or anything. I just want to talk about the playoff picture because it's close to that time, and we haven't really covered it all on the show.
All right.
So, Western Conference, we'll cover that because we both have a team in the Western Conference. Obviously, we know who the number 1 seed is going to be.
Eastern Conference, number 1 seed is going to go to Milwaukee.
I was talking about the Western, but okay. The Spurs, Rockets, don't worry about them because they're out. They can't do anything. But where I'm interested is who's going to make the play-in tournament.
Right now, it's looking like the Pelicans and Timberwolves, honestly.
It can be Pelicans, Timberwolves. But
if the playoffs were to happen today, Timberwolves or Pelicans will be in the play-in.
The Timberwolves will face the Pelicans in the play-in, and the Mavericks will face the Lakers in the player tournament to see who's seven.
Actually, we're the number 6 spot right now.
Oh, are you look? Oh,
I'm looking at standings.
I didn't think about that. This was before today. It does a good breakdown, but it's actually not updated because today's games are not over. So let's just get into today's games. Hawks beat the Wizards 114-107. 76ers beat the Trailblazers 120-119. The Nets beat the Timberwolves 93-86. Nets are beating the Timberwolves 93-86. Cavaliers are beating the Heat 89-82. Nuggets are beating the Spurs. Losing to the Spurs at the end of the third quarter, 98-93.
All right. Also, Nate.
Okay. What?
Who do you got for Saturday's matchups?
For XFL?
NBA.
NBA. Oh, okay.
We have the New York Knicks against the Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh,
I'm going with the Clippers.
No.
Why not?
1, Russell Westbrook. 2, New York
All right.
Knicks, ever since the NBA trade deadline, have been on fire. Now I'm curious. Have the Knicks even gotten a loss since they lost the last 2. But still, they are a good basketball team. Heat Magic? I got Orlando. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I don't. I got Miami. Utah versus Charlotte. Oh, wait. Well, who do you have for Heat and Magic?
I will take the Heat.
Okay. Jazz and Hornets? Yeah, I'm actually going to take Utah on that one. Cole?
What was it, Nate?
The Utah Jazz versus the Charlotte Hornets.
I'm going with the Jazz.
And
We have the Indiana Pacers against the Detroit Pistons. I'm going with the Pacers.
Pacers. Pistons are pretty much done at this point.
Boston Celtics versus the Atlanta Hawks.
Actually, I take that back. The Pistons are done at this point. I got Celtics.
I got Celtics as well.
Dallas Mavericks versus the Memphis Grizzlies.
Mavericks.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going with the Mavericks.
Good boy. Wait a minute. Why do you say you can't believe it? Explain, Nate.
Because it's because of how I feel about Kyrie. And
You think he's doing good?
No, I don't. And
all right,
okay, but they also are playing against the Morantless Memphis Grizzlies team, so it's why I'm picking Dallas this time.
This is true, to be honest. I mean, who else did we know that's on that Grizzly squad? Sorry, Memphis. I just wanted to insult y'all. All right, Oklahoma City versus New Orleans Pelicans.
I'll go with the Thunder.
I'm gonna go with the Pelicans. Milwaukee Bucks versus Golden State Warriors. That one's gonna be a good game.
Not as good as the one that's below that we haven't covered.
All right, I'm gonna go with Golden State for that game. Honestly,
I'm going for Milwaukee.
ooh. Sacramento Kings versus the Phoenix Suns.
And that's going to be a good game. And I think Kevin Durant's the missing piece to this roster. I've taken the Kings.
All right. Well, that's it for today, I think.
Well, we haven't covered the Eastern Conference playoff picture.
Oh boy.
Bucks are probably going to take that number 1 seat.
There's no doubt. It's either Bucks or Celtics right now.
Nah, I think it's the Bucks.
I can agree with you.
The only thing I don't really... The only thing I'm really not so sure on is who's going to take that 9-7 spot and who's going to take the 4 and 5. I'm sorry, 5 and 6. Probably going to be the Knicks taking that 5, and Nets taking this. I'm sorry, Nets taking the 6. But Raptors and Wizards. For 9 and 10. That's a interest. That's where it's looking at right now. Next time we do this, I probably should post at the bottom at what the current standings are. And see if there's anything that you disagree with.
Maybe we could honestly.
I think that's what I should do next time.
Here's what I'm thinking about doing, like I did for the rules on the NLFA. I'm thinking we should just share.
I can do that now. I can screen share it now.
Yeah, honestly, we're almost to an hour. You have any final thoughts?
Yeah. And then the NHL ones too. And then we didn't even go over the XFL yet.
All right, let's quickly do XFL because I am getting tired of talking about football.
Okay. XFL.
Hold on, let me get the schedule. Schedule. Week 4. All right, here we go. Houston Roughnecks versus the Orlando Guardians.
No, we did talk about the XFL, just not in this episode because we did a show on Sunday.
Did we already?
Yeah, we did.
Huh?
We did. We did a show on Sunday, so we already talked about this week.
Okay.
All right, let's just go over the NHL playoff picture and then just end right there.
All right,
NHL playoff picture.
Let me pull up the NHL standings. All right, I got it. Want me to share it?
I already am there. We'll share both of ours, but mine first.
All right.
Because mine does give it into a greater detail. Eastern Conference. So the Eastern Conference, you got the Hurricanes at the number 1 spot, and the Bruins is even more obvious.
I think the Bruins are going to take the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I do too. So anyway, in the Metropolitan Division, Hurricanes are probably going to take that number 1 seed. Devils at 2, and then the New York Rangers right there at 3. Bruins at that number 1 for the Atlantic. Maple Leafs at 2, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning at 3. Wild card, it says Islanders, then Penguins for the wild card seedings is what it's looking like right now. But I like Senators' schedule better, and I'm agreeing with the website here.
All right.
So I think Penguins are going to move. I think the Islanders are going to be out. The Penguins and the Senators are going to move up.
All right.
Now, Western Conference, the Golden Knights for the Pacific are leading. The Kings are taking that number 2. You're probably going to have that number 2. The Kraken are probably going to have that number 3, but I can see them taking probably going to have that number 3. Central, you're going to probably have the Stars at this top seed.
Also, Nate, I just tuned into your Nuggets game.
Wild are going to take that to Avalanche. Now, the only thing I think that's a little bit more settled forward. The only thing that might be a little bit interesting is who takes that number one side for the Pacific and for the Golden Knights and the Kraken, and who takes that eighth seed with the Jets and the Predators.
All right.
Just, some things to keep an eye on to watch out for. And that just ends the show for today. Any final thoughts before we give this a close?
I was actually very happy today about the episode. We just talked nonstop football. It was just really a good episode.
I'm just going to warn you now. Next week, you're probably going to hear a little bit more.
Oh, Lord.
It's going to be a lot like this.
You think so?
Yeah. The NFL free agency starts this next week.
Oh, boy, this is going to be fun.
And now I will say that the NLFA doesn't start until Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So that's going to start up too. And then the XFL.
My question is, do you want to make this an all football episode? I mean, an all football show next show?
There's a lot that needs to be covered, so I'm going to probably say no, but 90% of it's probably going to be football.
Who loves football?
As for me, as well, you also said you turned into the Nuggets game. Is there anything that I really should be worried about right now? Because now they
um,
lost yesterday, and now they're probably going to lose today in some weird
the
way.
current score is 99 to 108. I'm looking on a certain sportsbook that we're not partnered with. But I am looking at the results, and it looks pretty close right now, 99 to 108.
And I know why we're not winning.
What is it?
Our leading scorer and our second leading scorer, the leading scorer and the second leading scorer in this game are part of the Denver Nuggets. They have a total of three players. The Nuggets have three players right now that are leading in double digits. The Spurs have they have six. And this is exactly what I've been advertising on this show. That teams that spread the ball around a lot more tend to win basketball games. And that's not what the Nuggets are doing right now.
All right. I guess we'll end it here, folks. It was great having y'all today. It was great seeing y'all today.
Okay. This has been another episode of the Sports Status Podcast with your hosts, Nate the Great and Colby Turner. See you guys next week.